Richest person who ever lived.
The Sunday before Christmas, a man wakes up alone. He has poured $180 million into two companies. Both are about to die. His marriage is over. His money is gone. His rockets keep exploding. And he sits in the dark and thinks to himself, I never thought I was someone who could have a nervous breakdown, but this is the closest I have ever come. That man is Elon Musk, the richest person who has ever lived on this earth. And this is the year nobody talks about. Right now, as you watch this video, Elon Musk is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. He owns the world's most valuable car company. He built the only private company to ever send astronauts to space. He owns a social media platform used by hundreds of millions of people. His name is known in every country on Earth. But here is the thing about Elon Musk that nobody talks about. Before all of that, before the rockets, before the billions, before the magazine covers and the Twitter posts and the name that everyone knows, there was a year, one specific year, where everything he had built was 3 weeks away from complete destruction, where he had no money left, not a little money, no money, where he was borrowing cash from his friends to pay his rent, where 3 rockets had exploded, where his car company had $9 million left, enough for maybe 3 more weeks before the doors closed forever, where his marriage had ended, where his health was breaking, where the people he trusted most were telling him to give up. That year was 2008, and what happened inside that year, the decisions he made, the moments he almost quit, the 2 phone calls, that saved everything. In the space of 3 days, that story is more powerful than anything he has ever built, because it shows us not what Elon Musk became, but what he was willing to go through to become it. Let us go back to the beginning. June 28th, 1971, Pretoria, South Africa. A boy named Elon Musk is born into a middle-class family. His father, Errol, is an engineer. His mother, May, is a model and a dietitian. On the surface, a comfortable life, but underneath, something harder. Elon was different from other kids. From the very start, he was quiet. He read everything he could find. He spent hours alone with books, while other children played outside. He read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica when he was 9 years old, the entire thing. He would later say that by the time he was 12, he had read more books than most adults he knew, but school was not kind to him. He was bullied, not occasionally, badly. Once a group of boys threw him down a flight of stairs. They beat him so hard he had to go to hospital. He went home with a face so swollen, his own parents almost not recognize him. He grew up feeling like he did not belong anywhere, not in South Africa, not with the other kids. He felt like, in his own words, an outsider, and outsiders have 2 choices. They retreat, or they build their own world. Elon Musk chose to build. At 17, he moved to Canada to avoid mandatory service in the South African Army. He worked on a farm. He cleaned boilers. He did every job that was available to him. And then he got into Queen's University in Canada, then the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. He studied economics and physics together because he wanted to understand both how the world worked and why it worked that way. He was accepted into a PhD program at Stanford University. He attended for 2 days and then he quit because the internet was happening and he did not want to study the future. He wanted to build it. In 1995, Elon Musk and his brother Kimball started their first company, It was called Zip2. It was a simple idea, an online city guide for newspapers. They worked out of a small office. They showered at the YMCA because they could not afford an apartment with a shower. They slept under their desks. They ate at cheap restaurants and put every dollar back into the business. 4 years later, in 1999, a company called Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon Musk's share, $22 million. He was 27 years old. Most people would have stopped there. $22 million at 27 years old. Take the money, buy a house, live comfortably forever. Elon Musk took $10 million of it and immediately started his next company. It was called X.com, an online banking and payments company that would eventually become something you know very well, PayPal. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion. Elon Musk's share, $180 million. He was 30 years old. He had $180 million. He had built and sold 2 major companies. By any measure, he was done. He had won. The game was over. And then he did something that everyone around him thought was absolutely crazy. He decided to spend every single dollar on 2 new companies, one that would build electric cars and one that would send humans to Mars. His friends begged him not to. His advisors told him to wait. The smartest people he knew told him he was throwing his money away. He had done his research. He knew that 9 out of 10 startups fail. He knew that no private company had ever successfully launched a rocket into orbit. He knew that electric cars had been tried before and had always failed. He knew all of that, and he did it anyway, because he believed with a certainty that most people never feel about anything, that these things needed to exist, that the world needed them, and if he did not build them, nobody would. March 24th, 2006, SpaceX prepares to launch its first rocket, the Falcon 1. Elon Musk has spent $100 million of his own money building this rocket. The entire space industry is watching. Most of them are waiting to see it fail. The rocket lifts off, and 25 seconds later, it explodes. This happens again in March 2007. Second launch. Second explosion. The rocket gets higher this time, then falls apart in the sky and crashes into the ocean. August 2008. Third launch. By now the SpaceX team has been working for years. They have given everything to this project. Elon Musk has put all of his PayPal money into this company. The rocket launches, and this time it gets further than before. It reaches the upper atmosphere, and then the first stage and second stage of the rocket collide with each other. The rocket spins out of control and breaks apart. Third explosion. Elon Musk stands in front of his team after the third failure. These are people who have worked 7 days a week for years. People who believe in the mission. People who have sacrificed enormous things to be there. And he looks at them and says something that nobody in that room ever forgot. He says, "I will never give up," and I mean never. He tells them they have enough parts for one more rocket. One, and they will try again. Now here is what most people do not know about this moment. While the rockets were exploding, Tesla was also dying. The electric car company was burning through money faster than anyone had expected. There were huge problems with the battery technology. The first car, the Tesla Roadster, was months behind schedule. Suppliers were demanding money that Tesla did not have. The 2008 financial crisis hit, the worst economic disaster since the 1930s, and investors stopped writing checks. General Motors, one of the biggest car companies in the world, went bankrupt. If General Motors went bankrupt, what chance did a small startup electric car company have? Elon Musk had $180 million from PayPal by mid-2008 after 3 exploding rockets and a car company in crisis. Nearly all of it was gone. He took what was left, around $35 million, and he made a decision that his own advisors called reckless. He split it between the 2 dying companies, not one, both. He said later, "I could either split what I had between the 2 companies, or put it all in one and let the other die. I decided to split it. That could have been a terrible decision that resulted in both dying, but if there was any way to save both, I would try." December 2008. Tesla has $9 million left. $9 million for a company that needs tens of millions every month just to keep the lights on. 3 weeks, maybe 4. That is all the time left. SpaceX is in the same position. 3 rockets exploded. 1 chance left. Running on almost nothing. Elon Musk's personal finances mirror the company's. The $180 million is almost entirely gone. He is borrowing money from his friends, not to invest, to pay his rent. His brother Kimball would later say in an interview he was more than broke. He was in debt. And then there is everything else. His marriage to Justine Musk, 8 years, 5 children, is over. The divorce finalizes in September 2008. So in the same year, his rockets are exploding. His car company is dying. His money is gone. His marriage has ended. The global economy is collapsing. And the entire world seems to be confirming what his critics have always said. This man is not a genius. He is someone who got lucky once, thought it meant something, and lost everything trying to prove it. He wakes up on the Sunday before Christmas, alone, and he later tells CBS News, and I want you to hear his exact words. "I remember waking up the Sunday before Christmas in 2008 and thinking to myself, man, I never thought I was someone who could ever be capable of a nervous breakdown. I felt this is the closest I have ever come, because it seemed pretty dark. This is the richest person who has ever lived, sitting alone on a Sunday morning before Christmas, thinking he might break. Not a movie character, not a legend, a 37-year-old man who has bet everything, his money, his time, his health, his marriage, on 2 ideas that the world has decided are going to fail. And he sits there in the dark, and he does not quit, not because he is not afraid. He is afraid, but because, as he would later explain, he could not let these things die. If something is important enough, he has said many times, you do it, even if the odds are against you. The electric car was important. A future in space was important. And no amount of personal pain was going to change that. September 28th, 2008, 3 months before that dark Sunday morning, SpaceX prepares its 4th and final rocket launch. The whole team knows what this means. If this rocket explodes, it is over. Not just SpaceX. Elon Musk is personally done. There is no 5th rocket. There is no more money. There is no more time. This is it. The rocket ignites. It lifts off the pad. It clears the tower. It climbs through the atmosphere. First stage separation. Clean. The second stage ignites. Clean. The rocket keeps climbing. Higher. Higher. And then it reaches orbit. The first privately built liquid fuel rocket in the history of humanity has reached space. The SpaceX team, the people who had worked 7 days a week for years, who had watched 3 rockets explode, who had given everything, to this moment, they collapse. They hug each other. They cry. Elon Musk stands in front of them, and for a moment, he cannot speak. But the celebrations were short. SpaceX had no customers. A successful launch without revenue was just a beautiful way to run out of money slightly later. Then, December 23rd, 2008, 2 days before Christmas, NASA calls. They have selected SpaceX to resupply the International Space Station. The contract value, $1.6 billion. Elon Musk picks up the phone, and the man who had been borrowing money for rent, the man who had spent the Sunday before Christmas thinking he might break, could not hold the phone steady. He later said, "I just blurted out, 'I love you guys.'" And then, 1 day later, Christmas Eve, 2008, Tesla's investors close a funding round of $40 million. Just hours before, the company would have permanently run out of money. Christmas Eve, 2 events, 3 days apart, both companies saved. Elon Musk later said, in early September 2008, both companies were dying. By January 2009, both had secured what they needed. 1 month made the difference between total failure and everything that came after. You know what came after, but let me say it anyway, because the numbers matter. When you remember where he started, Tesla did not just survive. It became the most valuable car company in the world, worth more than Toyota, Volkswagen, and Ford combined. SpaceX did not just survive, it became the first private company to send astronauts to the International Space Station, the first private company to land and reuse orbital rockets, something that had never been done before in history. The company is now valued at over $200 billion. Elon Musk became the richest person who has ever lived. Not the richest person today, the richest person in all of recorded human history. And remember, on the Sunday before Christmas 2008, he was borrowing money for rent. His rockets had exploded. His car company had 3 weeks of money left. His marriage was over. The same man, 7 years later, worth more than any human being who had ever lived. That is not luck. That is what happens when someone refuses at the very last moment, at the darkest point, on a Sunday morning when everything looks gone, refuses to stop. Now let me tell you what I think this story is really about, because it is not just about Elon Musk. The first lesson, the size of the vision, determines the size of the struggle. Elon Musk did not struggle because he was unlucky. He struggled because what he was trying to do was genuinely hard. Nobody had ever sent a private rocket to orbit. Nobody had ever made electric cars work at scale. These things were hard because they had never been done, and things that have never been done do not surrender easily. The bigger your goal, the harder the road. This is not a warning. It is a preparation. If you are going through something hard right now, if the thing you are building is meeting more resistance than you expected, that resistance is not a sign that you are wrong. It is often a sign that you are attempting something worth doing. The second lesson, bet on yourself when no one else will. At the moment when every advisor said stop, when the evidence said stop, when his own bank account said stop, Elon Musk split his last $35 million between both companies, not because it was smart, because he believed in them more than he believed and the safety of keeping the money. Most of us never fully bet on ourselves. We keep something back. We protect the exit. We leave a door open. Musk closed every door. He put everything in. And when you have no exit, when there is nothing to fall back on, you find a way forward that you would never have found if the back door was still open. The third lesson: 3 days can change everything. The darkest moment of Elon Musk's life was the Sunday before Christmas 2008. 3 days later, NASA called. 1 day after that, Tesla was saved. 3 days between I might break and we are going to make it. You do not know how close you are to the phone call. You do not know which day is. 3 days before everything changes. The only thing that stands between your lowest moment and your turning point is whether you are still there when the call comes. Stay. The fourth lesson: the goal must matter more than the comfort. Elon Musk has been asked many times, was it worth it? The money lost, the marriage ended, the health damaged, the years of struggle. Was it worth it? He never answers with yes or no. He says something more honest. He says, if something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are against you. He was not building rockets to become rich. He already had money. He was building rockets because he genuinely believed that humanity becoming a multi-planet species was important enough to sacrifice everything for. That belief, that specific, irrational, completely sincere belief that what you are building matters, is the only thing that can carry you through the year when everything breaks. Find the thing that matters to you that much and do not let go of it. So here is what I want to leave you with. Most people look at Elon Musk today and see a result. The billions, the rockets, the companies. They see the finish line and they think some people are just built different. Some people are just lucky. Some people are just meant for this. But this story, the Sunday before Christmas story, the rockets exploding story, the borrowing money for rent story, this story tells you something different. It tells you that the person at the finish line is the same person who almost broke before the Sunday before Christmas. The same person who split his last 35 million between 2 dying companies. The same person who stood in front of his team after the 3rd explosion and said, I will never give up. He was not special because he never struggled. He was special because of what he did while he was struggling. You are in the middle of something. I do not know what it is, but I know this. The rockets will explode sometimes. The money will run out sometimes. The people you love will walk away sometimes. And on some Sunday morning, you will sit alone and wonder how much closer you can get to breaking. And in that moment, you have a choice. The same choice Elon Musk had. You can let it be the end, or you can decide, quietly, privately, without anyone watching, that you will never give up, and mean it. That decision, made alone, in the dark, when the evidence says stop, is the most important decision you will ever make. Make it, and then wait for the phone to ring. 3 rockets exploded, $180 million. Gone, borrowing money for rent. He said, I will never give up. 7 years later, the richest person who ever lived. The decision was made in the dark. Nobody was watching.